Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bullfish Hole podcast. Today, my guest is Eric Watkins, a professional boxer and fight promoter based here in Morgantown, West Virginia. If you go to Eric's website, realfightpromo.com, you will see that there's an upcoming event on August 16th, Real Fight Night 10, at the Morgantown Marriott Events Center. You can buy tickets to attend it in person or to live stream the event. You will also see links to Eric's Athlete Store, a service that helps boxers to sell merchandise, tickets, and to otherwise monetize their careers. Cool, Eric. Well, thanks
What
for
about
agreeing to
now?
talk with me, man.
No, thanks for having me on.
All right, so I guess my first question is just how did you get involved in boxing to begin with? How'd you start learning?
Well, okay, so my mom took us to the gym when I was young.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I grew up, we had three brothers, we fought. So, I remember, sort of getting coached against each other, breaking us up, and then doing it again. So, but yeah, my mom took us to the gym when we were young. Like, and that was for her to work out. But, we were just in there, doing the little 10-year-old thing.
So learning to fight, like it's like multiple skills that go with it. So was there any part of it that was like the most challenging?
Yeah, cardio, getting in
Yeah.
shape and coming back. But yeah, getting it, yeah.
How do you go from getting involved in fighting as like a sport or a recreation to something that's more of a career focus?
It found me. And there's a lot more to that boxing story. Like obviously life went on, you know what I mean? I probably had it a little bit wilder than most from what I can gather. But I refound boxing. It wasn't like I was like a child prodigy staying in the gym. I coulda, shoulda, and woulda, yada yada. If ifs and ands were pots and pans, we'd all be doing dishes. But that's not the case today. So I found the gym again when I was about 19. I thought I was tough, yada yada. And Morgantown was a bit different, yeah, Morgantown was wild back in this days, it was buck wild. So,
Um,
yeah, got in a handful of fights, all that dumb shit. And,
hmm.
yeah, and I found the boxing gym, and it probably saved my life, really, instead of being a bar stool or a bar pigeon, you know what I mean? But,
Hmm.
yeah, found the boxing gym, just wanted to do it at first, punch people in the face, but found a lot more. Found that feel as I feel is the answers along the way in boxing. And one of the deals is most people so on one end, and I'm going to talk about consumer. I'm going to talk about consumer. I give zero shits about combat sports to I'm involved in it or I'm doing it. Okay. So
uh,
let's say, as you were talking about, you just watching street fights on the internet, like we can all watch it, people get knocked out, someone knocking out an old man, you know what I mean? Somebody knocking this guy out, this guy getting jumped, whatever.
hmm.
And most people just watch it to see someone get knocked out or get hurt because somewhere in our messed up human conditioning, this is true. That if someone's getting hung, people are going to show up. You know what I mean? Whether they disagree or agree with it, or they're there to watch it. If you say, and I think that's one of the things that's like off with us as creatures.
Yep.
I'm no PhD or anything, but like if you be like, hey, I want to watch this video of somebody getting hit or Trump getting shot in the head, everyone watched it. Everyone shares it, and it just is what it is. And
Uh,
humans, we fight and we F, you know what I mean? So everyone just wants to see the violence, but on this other side, inside of it, there's more of a like warrior monk thing going on, like the guys that, like the hardcore guys, the Marines, the fighters, the Navy SEALs, the killers, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're not trying to have no conflict at all. You know what I mean? Because they're like, I might have to kill this dude, because it can get that bad. But that's one of the things that's misunderstood about it. Everyone just wants to see someone get hurt, but the guys in it are just like they just want to be able to get out of it without getting hurt.
So, like, looked on your website and you're talking about how you learned in your own career to sell and to get sponsors. And I don't want to ask you to give away business secrets or anything, but what's involved in all that, getting sponsors and
Oh
making a
no,
business out of it?
no, I'm here to give away business secrets. So literally, and I'm glad you asked about that. So the one thing, on the one hand, I've developed real fight promotions, right? And
Uh,
just I have to slow it down and go back to give origin to it, or otherwise it's not going to make sense. It's going to be
yeah.
like jumping in chapter 30 and like, what the hell is he talking about? You know what I mean? It's sort of like when people are talking about Lord of the Rings, or what's that one good one on HBO, like with the dragons?
The Game of Thrones.
Yes, I
Yeah.
watched like the first two seasons of it until I
Uh,
was like, I don't have my life to dedicate to this. So, when you so when you talk about, ep or season seven, I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
yeah.
So, but either way, so with boxing, I met a bunch of positive people in the boxing gym. You feel me? Like the town stockbrokers, like the
Hmm.
town's ballers, the town's business owners, the town's I did this, that, whatever. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And you really level up your game inside of these locker rooms. And that's one of the things athletes have the privilege to do. No matter where you're from, whatever color, makes, whatever. If you're in the same football locker room, there's going to be a couple ballers in there, and they'll give you game if you're interested.
Hmm.
And so that's what we picked up on. And in boxing, we had to sell tickets, right? So I got like $100 to show up and fight as an amateur after a certain level. When I made it to the Morgantown Marriott, right? I
Uh,
got $100 to show up and fight, right? But then I had to sell tickets, and sell tickets, you get $70. You sell 10 tickets, you get next fight you sell 20 tickets and get, $150.
uh-huh.
So we had to learn how to sell tickets. And then when I went pro, so my deal is I had 24 pro fights. I'm known for boxing here in Morgantown, West Virginia. So
Uh-huh.
I go to Jim's gym. I fought all around the country. I fought some great fighters. I fought in the Gardens. I fought in Madison Square. I fought in Las Vegas twice. And I fought the GOAT Roy Jones Jr. You can box rec me. Box rec's the official scorekeeper for boxing. So I fought Roy Jones last pro fight. And then but this whole way through my fight career, we had to like you have to figure out how to make more money. Because if you're waiting for a promoter's check, you're gonna be fucking broke. You feel me? That's one of the things where we're at, like in combat sports now. Like you
Yeah.
guys see these guys on TV and you're like, oh, he got paid. I'll fight someone for $100,000. Like, no, this dude's been fighting for 10 years and now he just got $100,000. Technically, on sweat earned, the money doesn't even add up. You got to really love it. But, so I had to figure out how to monetize back in my days when I was fighting. After I was done fighting, I made a quick startup during COVID, where I learned digital marketing. And it was the goal was to help fighters make more money. And I had a couple fighters on it, and then we would just have drop ship shirts for them. I would put your face on a shirt, it sells, boom, we send it out. It worked, and then COVID opened up. I had my first independent boxing show. It was a raging success here in Morgantown,
Uh,
Multnomah County. And then after that,
how'd you like make that decision to set up your own independent show?
it just happened. Like I did the stream for another boxing promoter. We like partnered with it.
Uh-huh.
Simon's Promotions. And then he didn't want to do the whole show himself. He was like, Eric, just do this, help carry it on. Yeah. And then so ever since, we've been having fun. We've had 9 successful shows in town. We put at least 1,000 people in the crowd. We bring in great fighters from all around, and I mean, it's a blast.
So like how do you find fighters for a show? Like how do you figure out who's wants to be in it and who to pair with who?
It's a network thing. It's a network and Facebook and social media. So everyone knows everyone, even though I mean, there's 2 good gyms in this city and th two good gyms in this city and
Uh-huh.
one gym in this region. And then after we meet up at a fight a time or two, it's like you see the same people every time, the same trainers, and this guy has his camp, and then we all know each other and we text each other around and see who's got a fighter. Who's
Uh,
got this fighter of that experience? And then once you get on that, it's extremely hard to match people nowadays. Not like it used to, because everyone has this thing called social media
mhm.
where this guy fought, so a lot of guys won't fight this guy, but they'll fight that guy or this guy and that guy. And there's so much video out. It can, it can, I mean, it can help a fight happen, but it can also hinder a fight,
Huh.
It's got its pros and its cons. Like we can reach out to anyone anywhere. And but
Interesting.
most of our fighters come from West Virginia,
Uh-huh.
local boys, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
How would you characterize the fight scene around here? What's it like, the boxing world?
Extremely poppin'.
Yeah.
Now in West Virginia, everyone wants to come to West Virginia on the East Coast because our commission, everyone from New York, Pennsylvania, other places can have hard commissions, as they should. I'm not saying that like regulatory bodies. So everyone's coming to West Virginia right now, and West Virginia's popping.
Regulatory bodies, like the
Yeah,
how's it
this
different?
state athletic commissions, some
Hmm.
are easier and less expensive to work with.
Oh, okay. So is West
Yeah.
Virginia's easier and less expensive to work with?
Yeah, and yeah, people want to come to Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
So, a lot of fighters are looking to come here to fight. But,
Huh.
do they all get to? Probably not. I mean, it just depends on it if they are of use and can work with the promoters here. Yeah, there's a lot of fighters that are promoterless, managerless, and then they sort of just get whatever they can get because unfortunately we it's better to work with a manager of a guy or a gym owner, a trainer that's like, okay, this trainer does not have bullshit come. You know what I mean? You
Uh-huh.
never know what you're gonna get with Johnny, and he's been training his whole life, but he can't stick in a gym or keep a job. So
So when you have a fight coming up, like how do you build the interest and advertise and make sure you get a crowd?
social media.
Yeah.
Social media, guerrilla, and also I empower the fighters. So
Yeah.
another thing with this whole promotion, so I created now, I'm in the midst. We're gonna rename the whole body of it, but I'm a software guy.
Uh-huh.
So I created, and in software land, we play with putty, right? And nobody did this for sports promoters or athletes. And in the day of NIL, I'm here to do it. So that's what we're doing with Real Fight Promotion as well, is that we created a software platform that can helps them sell tickets, help them get sponsors, gives athletes websites, places where drop shipping, places where they can design gear and pretty much sell whatever they want. There's this whole software AI. I'm sure you heard that word 15 times today.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is, yeah, I'm here to help athletes make more money. So, we do give away. We have a course where we show athletes and fighters how to get sponsorships. That
Uh,
involves you giving none of your money to no one else. You going around too. And this is the free game that's in the course, and it's
uh,
this simple. So, Jason, where are you from?
I'm from Virginia,
Big town, small town?
small town, small.
You now 10 relatives, the close relatives, Mr. Henry's uncle or whatever, who have a small business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's say you're going to be fighting in Morgantown next Saturday,
Uh-huh.
right? It's going to be the biggest thing in your small town. Or let's even like twist that. Let's say you're going to be playing football in Morgantown, in 3 Saturdays, right? I bet you're the bomb.com where you live, right? Or at least you're recognized for, being an athlete, right? Not
Uh-huh.
saying. So, how many, if you had a list of, Donnie's Lawn Care, Jimmy's Garage, Sarah's Hair Salon, how many of those places do you think you could give you $200 to make 4 social media posts about them and to put their logo on your shirt?
Well, I don't know personally, but I see your point. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You can at least say five, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depends on your hustle, right?
Yeah.
But but that's exactly it. So we're empowering athletes with ways like that, and that's a no-brainer way the athlete to go put money in their pocket and never give that to anyone else. And let's say if we could put that sponsorship on their website, which we do have, and I
hmm
have that. Let's say on that website, you could go to and you could buy tickets for their game, or their fight. In
hmm
Fightland, where I'm at, fighters get commission off of what they sell. Personally, right now, what my business does is we give fighters 25% pro or amateur of what they sell. So you don't get punched in the face for free, right? Plus $100. That's what, so now that empowers the fighters to sell, pack out the venue, It doesn't matter if you're good or suck. If you bring 1,000 people, you make, a couple bucks. And then that empowers that. And then we're also helping athletes with business models, business coaching, software tips, the software programs that the big dogs use, and all this is transferable. Just like in boxing, one of the things with me, in my first pro fight, by the way, which was at this venue where I'm lucky enough to host them at. Well, here's another backstory. I should have said this earlier. But my first pro fight was in this building where we're at, the Morgantown Event Center, with the
hmm
big ceilings. I broke my arm in the first round, and then I beat the guy up with one arm. True story.
For real?
hmm I got the surgery. I got plates and screws in my arm. Then I had 23 more pro fights after that. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty dumb, really, but
Yeah, if I'd have broken arm, that'd been the end of my fighting. But then
yeah.
again, I'm
Yeah,
not a fighter.
it was real dumb, but whatever happened. So, had surgery, yada yada. But after that, my name blew up in town,
Uh,
because I mean, I broke my arm, won the fight. So then I guess that was like a change in defining moment of my life. I started a business up during my fight career. I used to drive drunk people around in their own car, W Safe Ride, and
uh-huh.
add that business. And then now after that, I started up fights. I did some multimedia stuff, some videography, some photography,
hmm
and now I do fights and software. And I still have all the skills I've learned along the way because it's all transferable. So my goal is to help athletes be able to market themselves, especially in this NIL day, like right now. Hell, I'm gonna throw another one out there. Okay. And anyone can do this. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can do this, right? And I was just running with some people and I'm like, any of us can do this. Okay, so I just got monetized for Facebook. Okay, and for Meta platform. Now, this first month I'll probably make like 23 to $55, which I obviously isn't. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be paying no mortgage with that. But if I keep on steamrolling it, or if I let the snowball, if I get consistent with good stuff and I let the snowball, accumulate down the hill or up the hill, whichever way I got to push it, then I'll be making, 300, 500, 1,000, 4,000. Another
Mm-hmm.
promoter told me a while ago he makes 4Gs a month off of Facebook alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that athletes can do. That
Mm-hmm.
people probably want to see you jacking weight in WVU's football's locker room more than me. You know what I mean? And so, or more than my fighters. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, like I know, and I'm just gonna th the girls do it real good. The girls that do it, they like the female fighters,
Uh,
the female soccer players and the college athletes, and yeah, go for it. If you can get in Sports Illustrated, hell yeah, you go, and I know so either way, whether you're male, female, whatever you're doing, whether you're shooting archery or playing rugby, you can make some funny, good content and get paid for that.
I guess that lines up with a question one of my readers asked me to ask you, which is where do you see the world of the boxing sport and combat sports going in 10 years?
Nowhere. I think it's only gonna, okay, everyone's got this, whole thing that boxing is dead, right? Or
Uh,
at least it's not dead. It's never been dead. And people we're even spending more money on it now, and people are getting more. The Arabs, not Saudi, but it might be Saudi. A couple like couple rich Arabs in the Middle East
mhm.
have bought boxing and they're bringing big fights over there. It's not Saudi. What's the rich country? Like
Uh,
Dubai?
Dubai, the Emirates.
Yeah, like the one with that city. I think it's Dubai. But
Hmm.
either way, UFC had Fight Island over there during COVID because they would let them have their fights over there.
Hmm.
Like and they bought the Ring magazine. Boxing's not going anywhere. Everyone loves boxing. And just because UFC or MMA has like blown up and stayed there, like box in other countries, boxing's still the national sport in Mexico. It might as well be the national sport in England, and over like in Europe, it's like it's huge. America, we just lose all of our good athletes to football and basketball. That's the only issue. I'm telling you what. And then I'm gonna throw this at that. I'm not even like right now, like my oldest kid played football. Grew up playing football. I'm not even convinced that the ball sports are the true meccas of it, because
Uh,
like you're dependent on someone, you get your ass benched, you know what I mean? You can go play a ball sport and not play a damn thing, Solo combat sports are the truth, whether it's wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, if you get punched in the face or scored on, it's only you. And if you do the same to the other guy, it's only you as well.
all right, one more. I know you're busy. I'll let you go. But I was soliciting questions from people on social media, and someone asked me about Reggie Strickland. You know who that is?
No, I can Google him. Who is it?
That's what I had to do too. I didn't know. But he's a fighter who fought for like 18 years, 363 fights, only 66 wins.
Yeah.
And so the guy asked me, like, have you ever known that type of fighter? Somebody who's not got a great win record, but just still keeps going out there.
Yeah, I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so these guys, okay, so with that being said, I'm glad you asked me that because these guys from the outside, you're like, oh, this guy gets his ass kicked all the time, which is true, right? But on the inside, these guys are what boxing is made on, and so everyone has fought that guy's a journeyman, right?
Yep.
He's a journeyman. He'll show up. And generally, he figured out like he'll show up in your. Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys that just go in there for a paycheck and take a knee, right?
Uh-huh.
That is true. But these journeymen will fight whoever, you know. They'll show up on last second notice, and be like, "Oh, you got $5,000 for me? Cool. I'll be in Cincinnati." You know what I mean? Give him 2 months. You got $10,000 for him. He'll be in Seattle, and he'll fight your hometown killer. You know what I mean? He'll try, he might not try. He'll try not to get killed, whatever. And then these guys do go for it. They do swing. You know what I mean? And you can get caught slipping by what as the normal person would see a record like that, and they're going to have a couple names for the guy: a bum, a tomato can, whatever. He doesn't have a pulse, yada yada. And I understand how that can be thought of, but that guy's really getting in the ring. And anytime, as long as the fight's not truly fixed, which does happen, but I think it's lighter. It happens a lot littler than you'd think.
Hmm.
But that guy's risking his life every time. And then, if there's this website named BoxRec, and I'll send it to you. It's the official boxing scorekeeper of boxing. You can go on there, look at my record, look at the guys who I fought. I fought a couple of tomato cans, then I fought a couple like really like goats or killers, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you can just go box like that. And then you can look at the people who he fought and see what their record was at the time they fought it and then their record now.
Hmm.
And so without these guys in the middle, they're the guy who's 10-0, he fought 10 of those, or probably like 8 of them to get 10-0. And now he has to fight guys that are a little bit better, and then
Hmm.
he'll still get one of them. But it's a interesting spectacle.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for talking to me today. I'll add some chatter at the beginning and then promoting your website. And you have a big fight coming up, right?
Yes, sir. So yeah, we got August 16th at the Morgantown Event Center. It's going to be a wildly great time. I mean, we put on a real good show, the fighters do, and yeah, we're going to crank it.
Cool, Eric. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome, man.
Yeah, cool to learn about what you do, man. I'm always curious what other guys' jobs are. And as a reminder, folks, you can find Eric's website, realfightpromo.com, where you can buy tickets or live stream his latest fight event on August 16th. Athletes can also find links to his resources for helping athletes make money in the athletic business. Thank you for listening to this edition of Bullfish Hole Podcast.